bro, why Drake just admitted Kendrick Lamar won and he lost everything. Now, I ain't gonna lie. Drake lost everything and Kendrick Lamar won. Now, Drake knew he messed up as soon as he did that lawsuit. Before we get into the video, let's get 40 likes, 40 subscribers. Let's get straight into this video. Let's go!
Now, for Drake, Ak, OVO, and anyone who follows the biggest clown show in hip-hop, right now, this group of people have never been doing worse, because with Kendrick Lamar's Grand National Tour now underway and with what we have seen so far, despite their desperate attempts to validate their own delusion and make this show look bad by putting up pictures of opening acts and the stadium before fans even got in, well, as usual for these pathetic narrative spinners, despite what they tried to do, Kendrick Lamar isn't just breaking all sorts of records, but he's selling out shows in places that Drake considered his home and is still putting up bigger numbers than he ever has there. And now with this, what is 100% clear is that Drake and all these clowns now, no matter how hard they try, can no longer run away from how popular and important Kendrick really is. And now before we go any further into what all this means, and how Drake has never known that it's more over than right now, and this is why he is being so silent, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton, and as right now with Kendrick Lamar's success, we're only about to see more legendary moments from him and also more crash outs from Drake and anybody even affiliated with him because of that. Really be sure to leave a like so Rap's losing team can't keep running away from reality. And so now with that said, when it comes to Kendrick Lamar, all it has taken with the start of Kendrick Lamar's Grand National Tour and everything going on there is just 2 shows, and with these 2 rare moments where hip-hop is...
Now, this Grand National Tour I should have been here for. I definitely should have went to this tour, y'all. Let me know if y'all would like me to go to a Kendrick Lamar tour, y'all. I'm dying to go to one, bro. I don't care, y'all. You feel me? I'll definitely go to a tour, bro. All y'all gotta say is the word, bro.
Crossing over in stadiums, Kendrick has managed to dismantle every single narrative that Drake and the people around him have kept trying to use to take him down and discredit and diminish his greatness. And now more than ever, with how desperate this group has gotten, which is literally resulting in them posting the opening act in mustard and saying it's a failure and nobody's there, which again, if you have ever been to a show or an event or just know a little bit about touring, you know this is always how opening acts are, because fans are coming into the stadium or the venue and they're usually doing something before they get to their seats. And now what I saw that was even funnier than this is that people were seriously trying to push the narrative that within this clip of Kendrick performing, that the only people there were the people holding up lights and that everything else was an empty seat. Although again, this is just a complete joke, not just when you see the other angles of the show and see that it was entirely filled up, but also just know that not everybody was gonna have their light up at the same time within that moment. And now with all of this, Drake and the guys who we know he has conversations with to try to keep spreading things about Kendrick Lamar are spiraling so bad that we have really reached a point where they are now literally arguing and running around with narratives that are so far from even slightly being real that nobody outside of the Drake community is taking this seriously whatsoever. And now at the end of this all, despite the noise, so far with this tour, which really has felt like an NBA or NFL season with how many people are rooting for an artist to both win and lose, Kendrick Lamar has shown that no matter how you want to draw it up, well, if this is a season and people are rooting for an artist to lose, he is clearly the most valuable player in the league, and he really has started to take hip-hop to those way further heights that we have kept speculating about, because when we get into the numbers of this tour so far and what they all mean, well, on night 1, Kendrick and SZA didn't just move every single ticket.
I ain't gonna lie, I love Kendrick and SZA. The combination of those 2, bro, they can just do like a great job. You feel me, dog? Like, they just like one of the like best duos out here in America, dog. You feel me?
They had the highest grossing singular show, not just of their careers, which also considering their past touring already says a lot, but beyond just competing against themselves, they ended up having the most successful show for any rapper ever, and this type of city and venue is not even considered one of the main places that these types of things would generally happen in compared to the New York or LA areas, for example. And now with Kendrick Lamar literally breaking a record that was held by Eminem and Jay-Z Beyonce before this is game-breaking, mind-boggling, and game-changing, because for Kendrick to show you can do this while just rapping better than anyone right now, this is a call for the competition to step it up. And with Kendrick Lamar literally doing all of this and making such a significant achievement in not just his career, but the entirety of hip-hop and music on night 1, but while most people that would be the peak, somehow for Kendrick it only got better, because in night 2, which was in Houston, which was the worst performing show on the tour in terms of tickets being moved leading up to everything and was maybe expected to do a little less than the rest as a whole, they ended up moving every single ticket there again and having an even louder show than before.
Crazy, bro. I should have went to Houston and definitely, went to that show, y'all. And to me, it looked pretty packed there, I ain't gonna lie. So, whatever allegations they got coming out about this tour, bro, it looked like it was a good performance and everything,
With these real records, which we can fully see the impact of just by the crowd size. So even with the Houston show specifically, where Kendrick stepped into a place that Drake is a resident of, if we remember, and despite Drake thinking that they would always hold him down and that this is where he wanted to be, Kendrick went and absolutely rocked the show and even called Houston his home, which definitely was another troll towards Drake because Drake literally thinks this is his, and altogether has now left another stadium making history and breaking records. And now with this, Drake, OVO, Ak, and all the people who just can't accept that their guy lost a rap beef and that he is nowhere near the top guy. There is no more running around with all these claims that Kendrick Lamar is overhyped, his hype is not real, and that he doesn't actually have the support that it looks like. Because now what these shows have proved so far, and what is only going to continue from here, which they better get ready for that because it is a long tour, is that Kendrick Lamar is the biggest rapper out, and in an era where hip-hop and music seems like it's becoming secondary because how most artists are treating it, Kendrick is really standing in the face of not just what Drake and people are trying to take down, but what the music industry is trying to shift into, because with him gathering so many people who are all willing to see him because of how important his music is, and then on top of that, how big of an experience he is making it to hear it. I mean, when we really put into perspective what this record-breaking tour means and what he is doing now, more than anything else, this is the real victory lap of the beef and hip-hop because of how directly he is connecting with the people and seeing what audiences are responding to. And in general, in an era where artists are caring less and less, they are seeing that if they actually just tried, the potential of that can give them a greater ceiling than ever. And now bringing all this into perspective and bringing it to this point where Drake knows he is done. We go back to Drake and see where he is, despite what they want you to think and what he tried to fade away. When you compare the Grand National Tour to Drake's Anita Max Win Tour, which did so bad that he had to cancel multiple shows and just run away from it, and again, we know that for sure because he didn't just end those shows and try to reschedule them, but he has not mentioned or tried to remind people of them at all now. I mean, when you compare Kendrick's Stadium Tour, which is bringing success to hip-hop and rap music like nobody has ever seen, as now Kendrick is literally breaking Eminem and Jay-Z's records, which...
Eminem and Jay-Z, that's crazy, okay? I never thought Eminem and Jay-Z record would ever be broken. Those are legends, so this is wild.
Say so much. And at the same time, Drake can't fill up stadiums and had to run away so far from that tour. Again, no matter how hard everybody on that side of things tries to hide it, the time of hiding behind the narratives of industry suppression and fake numbers are over, because now with the main thing in music that you cannot rig no matter how hard you try, Kendrick is comfortably filling up these spaces and rapping in a building that nobody else ever has besides two of the greatest figures ever. And meanwhile with Drake, he could not even do an arena tour right now, which no matter what, do not let people forget and try to erase this from his resume, which is what they have been trying to do. And so now with all of this and where we are at, it has never been more obvious and more clear that no matter what you want to say, Kendrick Lamar is the biggest rapper in the world and in all of the music industry right now. Because really with how successful his tour, his music, and everything else has been, I think we can definitively say that in terms of superstars and what they contribute to the music industry on the biggest scale, at this point, it's just him and Taylor Swift within a tier of their own. And with Kendrick reaching this top level while keeping his authenticity and integrity, you gotta give him credit for it, because not just don't rappers ever pull this off, but artists in general never do. And now with Kendrick Lamar sitting in this league where he is going to have what is going to become not just the biggest rap tour, but really one of the most important tours in this entire era of music, because with SZA also on this tour as well, and even what she's doing with her Not Beauty line, she is also breaking boundaries and expanding what an artist can do as a whole. I mean, overall right now, and even people are starting to recognize this as rap reaches these heights and everybody has to notice. Really, both Kendrick and SZA right now are the biggest things in music at this very important moment, and both for hip-hop and R&B. They are expanding and raising the ceiling of what you can do with this craft like we have never seen, and you just gotta hand it to them for this. And so now with this all happening while Drake and everyone around him just tries to make this tour look like a flop or like it's a bad thing, and that's the narrative that even Ak is now trying to push, and when he can't use objective things like the tickets anymore, he is trying to spin that Kendrick's music live is boring and that they are only there for sizzle.
Bro. No, bro. Alright, I ain't gonna lie. Kendrick got hits, okay? We could take a look at this. Do Kendrick have hits? We could say that GNX was a hit. We also could say that like No More, Whacked Out Morals, what other song? Squabble Up. They so hits. I wouldn't say they like classic hits, but I believe you can bump that in the radio, dog. Reincarnation, I guess you could say that's a hit. What else though? We can also for sure say that Not Like Us was a hit, because I heard that in the club. When Not Like Us came out, that was all over the club and shit. So
which no matter how you want to put that, just look at everything around this tour. Kendrick is clearly the main active part of it. And so now with this, no matter what narrative shifting and lying the biggest losers in hip-hop try to pull to discredit the success of Kendrick and what he is about to do as this thing continues, in terms of them trying to create this false image of the guy, and in hip-hop in general for that matter, that's all over, because no matter what you want to say, when we just look at how Kendrick Lamar is currently underway with the biggest hip-hop tour ever, and then again, Drake had to cancel his. Get him out of here. It's over for these guys, and they have never looked worse. And so going forward for Drake, while his rare silence right now is speaking volumes in of itself, he's got to just give it up and admit that he is no longer the #1 guy and that he is far from it. Because if Drake really wanted to make a statement or believed he could reach Kendrick's level, he would just do a stadium tour himself, but as he didn't do it during Views, not during Scorpion, or not during any other time where you could have said he was up. This just tells you everything you need to know, because if Drake could not do these types of shows when he was on top, he could never do them at all, and with Kendrick Lamar really only starting this new era, what the wild part about this all is that this is not even his peak yet, and we don't know where he can go from here.
Exactly, bro. I don't know. I don't understand. I really don't understand why people would choose Drake, bro. Because everything Drake was dropping sounded the same, dog. And to that new album, the last album that he made with Party Next Door was the first album that sounded unique, bro. So let me know y'all thoughts on this video. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe as always. This has been Cash. I'm out. Deuces.